Welcome to my series on Magic the Gathering, where it started, my perspective on it. Basically, got going in the early 90s and had a really bad reputation. I didn't know anything about it. There was a rule back then where when you play a game of Magic, you had to offer one card as an ante, where the winner of the game would win the card. Basically, that was a deal breaker for me. I was not in a spot to learn a new thing while I was in like middle school and risk losing some of the cards that I bought. So even though it's cool to think it'd be neat to have started then, I didn't. And even with that rule, had I looked into it and really learned it, I wouldn't have, because I wouldn't have risked losing my cards. But basically, a lot of stuff happened way back then. The general starting as Magic the Gathering is a high fantasy storyline about essentially dueling, like, I guess, wizards of some sort. I know the Urza brothers are a big part of Magic history. You can read more about that if you want. There's entire books written on Magic the Gathering and history of it. And it got a really bad reputation when I was first introduced to it, because I heard stories of people saying that, oh, these people think they're really casting the spells, all this kind of stuff. I don't believe that necessarily. I think people got really into like playing the role, but I don't think there's anyone who like truly believed they're actually doing the magic just by playing a card. No, that's the backstory of the game. Is I'm picturing like two separate wizards way up in some big towers, and the storyline is they're overseeing a battlefield where they're casting the cards represent the spell the wizards would be casting, and it's just for the storyline. Okay, I mentioned a couple of the Urza brothers. There's a whole series of conversation around planeswalkers and what they are. That was all before my time. I missed all that. There's some big conversation around something called the Gatewatch. I never learned much about. Historic alliances were formed between multiverses. All these fun high fantasy storylines existed through Magic the Gathering. My goal with this series is to open packs and see if we can understand where the storyline has gone and see kind of like how it has progressed over the last few years. Starting the first pack is Zendikar Rising in September 2020 is when I'm going to begin this storyline. Lots has happened before that. I really would love for you to join me on this adventure as we go through the history of Magic by opening packs.